Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wrestling Conversations. I'm your host, Matthew. This episode's going to be a little bit different, where it's just going to be a solo episode, where I still want to keep doing interviews. I just haven't been keeping up with them quite as much recently here. From listening to the show, anyone that's kind of listened throughout my episodes I've done so far is like wrestling figures. It's kind of a topic that comes up quite a bit. So I want to do a little bit more, videos and podcasts, and I'm going to try to do them both like podcast style, but then upload them to YouTube for anyone that wants to do the visual, just to be able to see the visuals, anything for figures, things like that. But I want to kind of expand on that too and do a few different ideas with action figures, collectible stuff like that. So wrestling's like a big focus of that, but also like Marvel and DC, like there's some sports memorabilia that I like to kind of collect as well. So things like that. So now that it's kind of post-Christmas, I had a few things that I got as gifts and just maybe some updates and kind of what I've been doing, kind of hobby-centric things with some time off that I've had here. So I got a few different gifts that are kind of like collection-centric things. So I'll start with the wrestling stuff first here. But to kind of start things off, some of the figures I got I'm going to pull the box up here. I've already unboxed these, but I have the box here because I thought that was worth kind of showing off for anyone that is listening. So I have the ringside exclusive Dudley Boys figures. I think that box is super cool. Where it has like the tables. So a lot of those ringside like ultimate exclusives have these cool boxes, like the Outsiders. They have that as well. Still don't have those, by the way. I need to get those. So here are the figures. So I've already unboxed them, put them on the shelf. Got Bubba right here. He's got the blue camo with the glasses. I have the belt on his head like he used to wear it, so you can't see his head scan very good. But a couple other alternate heads as well. And then here's the last one. This one I got to find a way to display this coming up too. We've got the tongue out version too, so a lot of good head sculpts with that Bubba too. And then we've got the Devon. White glasses. I have the kind of like the screaming head sculpt on this, blue camo as well. Tag titles. A couple alternate heads on this one too. This is more of that like grimacing head there. We've got more of the stoic ones. God, gosh, these are looking quite good. So I got those for my wife. So those are some good figures. Put those on my display here, and we'll get to a couple other maybe display changes I've made here recently too. But yeah, definitely good figures that I've been wanting to get for a little while now. Just haven't pulled the trigger, so I got those. I did also get a few cards as well. So I do collect cards, not as extensively as figures, but the cards I got a couple different options here. I'll start with the wrestling first. I got a Marks of Greatness Immaculate Collection Kurt Angle from Panini. 51, I believe, 99. Nice auto. This is kind of my favorite era of Kurt, kind of the Ruthless Aggression era. So I had to add that to the collection. So I need to figure out if I need to get what size of like one touch. And I don't really like the normal one touch. There's a company called, I believe it's Pro Mold, where you can have a penny sleeve and still put it in the one touch rather than like the actual one touch brand or whatever that is. I'm not sure what brand. Ultra Pro maybe, where you have to have it in without the sleeve. So I like the idea of having the sleeve with it too. So got that. That was from my in-laws. I got that one. My wife also got me this. This is a couple baseball cards here. So Rightful Recognition, David Ortiz auto, which is a 13 out of 25. Can't see it that well with the glare, but that's a nice looking card too. So add that to the baseball collection. Ortiz was always one of my guys growing up. Lots of personality. One of the best hitters of the era. Excuse me. That was also for my wife. And the last one I got here was a on-card auto of Tim Lincecum on one of his rookie cards. He doesn't sign a ton. Not that his autos are super, super expensive or anything, but you don't see a ton of his cards out there. So this is a rookie card that was signed at a later date. And a lot of his autos are there's a lot of faded autos that I saw on eBay. So I got this as a gift as well. So this was another good one. He was one of my favorite pitchers growing up too. I know that he might not be a Hall of Famer just with the length of his career, but I kind of came along at the right time. I was born in '97, so Tim Lincecum, growing up, was one of those guys that was very entertaining, and I was watching baseball a lot, kind of at his peak. So that's one I really wanted to add to the collection as well. So got those cards as well. A couple more things. One more baseball item. I've been starting to get back into some of the McFarlane sports figures too. So I got this Nolan Ryan, these McFarlane sports picks. So I've got only 3 right now. I had more as a kid, but only 3 that I've rebought. So I'm going to add this Nolan Ryan to the collection too. Hopefully we'll add a few more, but this was from the Cooperstown collection too. So I only have hitters right now, so it was nice to add a pitcher finally too. So I'm trying to think. There's another Griffey, one where he's I think he's in a Reds uniform, where it comes with like the outfield wall accessory. So I think I'll hopefully get that one at some point too. But for right now, I got the Nolan, another cool one to add to the collection too. One last thing that's kind of more hobby-centric for right now. Grab one more thing here quick. I'm a big comic book reader and collector, so I got this trade, Books of Doom, written by Ed Brubaker. So with the Doomsday movie coming up, I think they're reprinting more of these things. So I've been wanting to read this for a while, but it was out of print for, I think, quite a while, actually. And then it's back in print, so I got that as another Christmas gift. So hoping to read that coming up here soon as well. So that's kind of it for as far as what gifts I got. The last thing I got, kind of like collection-wise, was I also collect 6th scale figures. Don't have a ton of them because they're so expensive, but I've got a handful at this point. And I've been getting some Sideshow collectibles, gift cards. I've been saving up those for a while, and I got one more of those from my mom for Christmas. So I finally pulled the trigger. And the Sideshow was doing the free figure deal. So Hot Toys is one of the sellers one of the figure brands that they sell. And if you spend, I think it was like $300, you get a free figure too. So I got the Mark V Iron Man, which I've been wanting for years now too. It's still in stock, and that was one that was offered on the free figure deal. And I also got Doctor Strange from Spider-Man No Way Home. So I got both those figures for the price of one, so that was pretty cool. Those are not here yet, but hopefully they'll be coming sometime. It'll probably be next week at this point. So yeah, that's kind of like what I got, and will be an added thing into the collection here too. But I guess now that I've had some new things coming in, I was looking for spots on the shelves for the Dudley Boys too. I've been doing a little bit of rearranging in my kind of collection room I have here. It's a total disaster right now with things I've been working on. I kind of started dip my toes into like scale models. So I was working on a model car, and since then my kind of collection room has been a total disaster since that point. So we're starting to get that put back together. But I wanted to do a little bit of rearranging with some of the new things that I got, and also will have coming in. Like I said, the Hot Toys, I haven't got to that shelf where I'll add those 2 in, so I got to figure that out still too. But with the wrestling stuff, I've been looking at rearranging a few things here. So not that you can see everything on video here, but right behind me, you've got some Attitude Era, a little bit of WCW stuff there too. So I've been trying to rearrange that to get things, make room for the Dudley Boys, but I kind of decided to separate some things. I'm a big Hardy Boys collector, so I'll try to move the camera for people that are watching this. On the top shelf there, you've got a bunch of Hardy Boys figures. So it's like 4 rows deep of just the Hardys. Mostly Mattel, but with some Jack stuff on the one side, and there was a couple of AEW figures from them too that I moved. But I've been kind of just thinking about that too, where I have my shelves somewhat set up by different eras. So I'll have like a shelf for more like Ruthless Aggression. I have a shelf for more of the Golden Era WWF and NWA figures. I have a section for WCW, more of a current shelf. I've got like an AEW and like international shelf. So I try to break things up more related to that. But the Hardys, I had them all on their own shelf because it's kind of like my favorite figures to collect and has been since I was a kid. But the problem is then I don't have any representation of the Hardys in those different eras. So I've been kind of tweaking some of that a little bit to where I put, as you can see if you're watching on video, I have my Ruthless Aggression shelf like right above where my head is. I added a Jeff to that, and I added the ringside exclusive Hardys into the kind of Attitude Era display, which is right over my shoulder here. So I added those in because I felt like just something was missing. So I wanted to kind of add those in. I had a set of Hardys from that. I think it was the Amazon exclusive 2-pack, which is over here, where I added those Hardys there too, just to kind of spread things out too. I end up being the person that likes to collect multiple versions of the same characters of maybe some of my favorites. So I got several, Kurt Angles. I've got a ton of the Hardy Boys. I've got lots of Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, stuff like that. So I'm trying to like spread those out instead of making them all, separate collections that way too. So that's something that I'd like to kind of keep doing too, is just kind of modifying how I've got things set up. So what do you guys think? I'd love to hear from anyone that's listening to this or watching this too, if you have any like thoughts on like how you would display things. So certainly you can send me an email at wrestlingconversations@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM via X. So if you search Wrestling Conversations, you'll probably find it, but it's Res, WRES, Convo, CONVO, pod. That's the handle. So you can get through to me either the email or DM me there. I'd love to share any thoughts that you guys have on whether it's new things that you got or different like rules for your collection or ways that you're displaying things, stuff like that. Or if you want to send in any pictures of your collection, I'd be happy to like put any of those comments into the episodes coming forward too. So if you want to share any of that, please just send them my way. I'd be happy to share it too. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit of rearranging. That's been pretty cool. And I've been thinking a lot about like what figures I have to pick up still. So maybe not the best time of the year to be buying things, but there's still a few things I'm like, I got to get that I have not gotten to. So one of the top things on the list is probably the AEW Supreme Will Ospreay. A lot of people have been saying that that's kind of like maybe their figure of the year. I know that's all subjective anyway, but I'm a big fan of Ospreay too. I didn't get his, I think it was, I don't know if it was Unmatched or Unrivaled. I think it was in the Unmatched series where he had his other release. And so I didn't get that one because I knew that the Supreme, I think, was coming at that point. And then I didn't get the exclusive, just kind of expensive. In hindsight, I wish I would have gotten it because there just wasn't much time to kind of think about it, so I didn't pull the trigger. But the Supreme's one I'd like to get. It just had a sale, I think, through Jazzware's Vault for like 50% off. So I think it was $20. I wish I would have jumped on that, but I put it on like a list of like some Christmas ideas when the sale, before the sale started. So I felt like I couldn't go back to get it. So that's one thing that I, maybe I'll see another sale, maybe not, but I don't want to take the chance of it's, selling out. So I'll probably get that one coming up too. Another one would be the ringside exclusive Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. I think those are sold out on ringside. So I think that'll be somewhere to third party, whether it's eBay, Facebook groups, things like that. So that's one that I've been wanting to probably get as well. So I've been watching a ton of WCW. I've had some time off post-Christmas, and it just makes me want those figures even more to kind of fill out that shelf. And just, I think some of the work that those guys were doing was really good. So I kind of started, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, I started watching WCW, and I kind of worked my way through a little bit of the early, once Jim Crockett Promotions became like WCW later on. Some of the earlier stuff, a lot of like Nitro era. So I started at the beginning and went through, and then I'd stop for a bit, and I watched farther than this, but then I wanted to kind of restart at like when the NWO angle kind of started. So I've been kind of keeping up with that too. So I'm watching Nitros from and pay-per-views from '96. So that's been really fun too. A lot of good stuff, and a lot of stuff just 90s wrestling that's just not that great. Some things on Nitro that, even though that it was, overall still a good show, a lot of like some really sloppy things too. So that's been super fun to kind of watch through that, and just to think of ideas for how I could put that into my collection too. So those two are figures I'd like to get at some point. Not sure when that'll be. But hopefully at some point I can get on eBay and pick those up. So I would say those two. And there's also a new Eddie Guerrero Ultimate from Mattel that I'd like to get. That's not an exclusive, I don't think, anywhere. I think Ringside's the only place I've seen it. up. Maybe it's up somewhere else, but I think it's only been ringside, and I don't remember if that was back order, out of stock already, or something. I'm sure they'll get more. That was I think it was one of the JBL matches that Eddie had with I think he was wearing purple that day. Might have been the bull rope match. Anyway, so that's one. Eddie's one of my favorites too, so I try to pick up most of his figures. So I want to get that. I'm also missing the Monday Night War Ultimate Walmart exclusive Eddie. That's like a 90, I don't know, maybe 97, 98 Eddie. So I'd like to get that one too. It's another one that will be eBay. I think I saw it in stores once and just wasn't at the spot where I wanted to spend any money on anything. And then I never saw it again after that. So it's not crazy expensive. Probably get it for like $50 on eBay, but it's still not cheap for, being able to get it at Walmart for $32.99 or whatever it is here. So that's one I'd also like to get. I'm trying to think of other things that are on my list. There's always lots of options, but those are probably some of the top ones for right now that I think I need to get to that are top of the list things. So I'll also share those things too. I'd be happy to mention anyone that emails in or messages me and wants to get any of those like recent pickups or things that you're hoping to get on the show. I'll be more than happy to bring those up in a future episode too. So, and other than that, I think that's been the biggest thing. Watching wrestling over this break I've had has been super fun. I'm trying to get caught up on AEW as well. I missed their last pay-per-view just with holiday plans too, so I probably have watched less wrestling this year than I have in the past, just with other hobbies, just been busy also, but I've had some time to get kind of caught up on some things, old and new, so that's been super fun. Looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom, even though New Japan's not having maybe their best year, but I'm still always look forward to watching that show every year too. So yeah, I think I would like to do more kind of like collectible and like figure stuff related to wrestling and other things too, but mostly wrestling coming up on the podcast and on the YouTube channel too. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'll hope to still get some interviews in as well. I've got 2 actually that are still in the can that I need to get out. That I will post as well, so those will be coming. I'll probably just do those audio only, and then save the stuff on YouTube for more of like the figure content if I have more visuals with that. So that's what I'm kind of thinking as far as that goes too. But other things that I'm thinking, I don't think anything else for right now. So I think that'll wrap it up today. So quick episode. In the future, we're gonna do more stuff with figures, maybe some news. I won't go super heavy on that. Other things as well that will be coming up as far as what I've picked up, what I'm hoping to get, or like even with figures that we already have, kind of looking back at that. One memory I did want to share, since it is Christmas time and we're post-Christmas now, I went home for Christmas to my mom's place, and one thing I always love to do is when I go home is always dig through my old wrestling figures. They're still in my old room, even though now it's converted into a guest room. She still has like a big, huge tub of my old wrestling figures underneath the bed. So, and when my nieces and nephews come over, they always dig through them and play with them and stuff too. And none of them I don't think watch wrestling, but just more toys to play with. But I always like to go through and look at the old figures. And one that stood out to me this time was I don't remember what series it was, but it was a classic Superstars Deluxe Bret Hart. Came with the belt, came with the glasses. And my wife and I just watched, I've seen it a bunch of times, but she had never seen it, the Wrestling with Shadows doc. So I kind of had fun looking at that Bret figure, just one that I always liked growing up. So I got to look through that one. And the kids they'd pull out a figure and try to quiz me on if I knew all their names. And little did they know I wasn't going to get one of those wrong. If I had the figure, I knew who they were, and just so much wrestling I've consumed over the years too. But they thought that was kind of a fun game. So again, no wrestling fans there with the kids, but still fun for me to kind of look back at those childhood figures, and a lot of good memories with looking at. And that was kind of my escape as a kid, just to play with the figures and way to interact with the form of entertainment that I enjoyed so much. So that was pretty fun to look at. But if you have any questions, please, again, send it into the email for the show. So that's wrestlingconversations@gmail.com, or you can find me on X, like I mentioned, and you can message me there as well. So we're going to wrap it up for this episode. But please send the questions in, or any things that you would like to share. And otherwise, we'll wrap it up here, and we'll get back to you hopefully in the next couple weeks, or maybe even before that, with just more kind of figure content. And we'll go from there. Thanks for listening.